Welcome to my Bristlebot video. So we are given the Bristlebot to put together and figure out how it works. So after I put it together, here you can see my product here, and I had to think of how does it work. So I immediately started looking at the motor and how it rotated and how that rotation is what propelled it in the direction, which you'll see in the videos coming up, that it went in. I also realized the importance of the closed circuit. And then I just kind of walked through and tried to think of what modifications can I make to this Bristlebot to make it a little bit more interactive or more important, and what materials do I have that I can use to redesign. So this brought me into my imagine phase. So my immediate thought was a duster. And then shortly after, like almost immediately after, it was, well, I have paint. What if I can use it to make a painting? And I also thought of, oh, it'd be great if I had a switch to help keep the closed circuit and be able to turn it, to keep it the closed circuit, be able to turn it on and off without having to pull tape or something else or the wire out. And what would happen if I put something on the end? So if I put different pieces on it. So this brought me to the planning process. So as I was imagining, I was jotting things down, as you can see on this piece of paper, and I figured out where to start. I figured out start with the painting process, and then I'll try the dusting. So for the painting process, I just kept it with the pipe cleaners because I didn't have a lot of materials to work with. And also when I tried to add other things, it was too heavy and things would fall over. So it was easier just to use the pipe cleaners given my time constraints. And so when I used the legs up like this, I would dip it in the paint and it would make these dark lines, but then it would stop sooner. So here you can see how it worked with the motion. But this way I had to dip it in the paint a lot more. And then here's my duster. Just started with just attaching a disposable duster piece. Then I got into the improvement phase. So I changed the leg position. Instead of, since it would take a little bit more to add to it, how could I just move the legs? And having the legs out, you can see how the paint here, I created a whole different design, which was really cool. So just changing the leg position, I could create this painting with, you could see this one, it kind of splattered the paint. And then this one, it made little scratches. So it created a lot of variety, which was pretty cool. And then also thought, if I had more materials and more time, what else could I attach to it? And then for the duster, I started off with a bigger piece that was a little too big and it just didn't move when I put it down. It vibrated, but it didn't go very far. So I made the piece smaller, and then this, it would still move slowly, but it still moved. So this was the before of what I dusted, and after. I also had to think about like the buffers to create to keep it from falling off of the cabinet. And then this brought me to the STEM practices. So in the green, this was kind of just building the Bristlebot without anything else. It doesn't cover a lot. And then adding the engineering process added the blue to it. So it covered a lot more in every section of the STEM practices. So it was much more inclusive. And then this brings me to the lesson design tool. Before the engineering process, adding it in, obviously it was all no's. Adding the engineering process got mostly yeses. The only two that I somewhat is, does the lesson present a real problem, the engineering challenge? I think it does. I feel like personally I'd have to be a little more specific telling my students. And also same thing with the teamwork. I wasn't working with the team, but I could easily see how you could make this work. So in conclusion, building and testing the Bristlebot helped me to understand how circuits, motors, and vibrations work together to create movement. I see how adding the engineering process opened the Bristle kit to be more robust STEM activity, and it helped me to think about how to take those types of activities and make them more meaningful with just adding the engineering process. Thank you for listening. Bye.